That's brilliant.
Come on, everybody! Right, go now. The book. Good afternoon. I hope you all had a nice cup of coffee. Plenty of cake. Yeah. This is, if you've read the little thing in the book, you'll know this is about me thinking not a lot's changed in security. So, lovely little quote. The past is a different country, they do things differently there. Well, I would argue that actually, in security terms, probably not. This is me. I'm just Tim. I've been kicking around in this job for about 30 odd years. Sam is now gone. I've done all sorts of jobs, consultancy. I'm now an independent data protection consultant, and I do a bit of triathlon in the background. That's my hobby. So that's who am I / Right. So how did I get here? Well, as I say, I've done lots and lots of different jobs for quite a long time. Some of those companies no longer exist. That wasn't my fault. In terms of technology, I've been involved in sort of all of that lot. I don't know whether I'm looking around that. Yes, there are some people here who will remember NetBEUI and IPX and SPX and ThinNet, ThickNet, and there are some people who are going, "What? What the hell?" Yeah. The technologies have moved on, and when you think about it, 150 years ago we were still in the Industrial Revolution. I'm not that old. Our railways only stopped using steam power in 1968. That's a year before I was born. And 30 years ago, the IBM PC brought out, and there was no thought that we'd ever have sort of a PC in every home. And now what we got? We've got these things on we've got phones all over the place. They've got more processing power, they've got connections to the internet and so on. So, this stuff's all moved on. So, look back very, very briefly. You used to have computers, either mainframe or maybe a network and maybe a server and so on. And then this internet thing appeared, and we used to dial up over good old POTS telephone lines without freaking them, if you were here earlier. Then all of a sudden we put leased lines in, maybe 64 kilobyte. The first connection I put in was a 64K line into Janet. That's 64 kilobits, not megabits, not terabits or anything like that. So we threw a firewall in because it was sort of like it was a good idea to put some kind of filtering in. And we had a mail server and a web server. And we put antivirus on, and that was security. Done. We didn't really move on from that for quite a long time. But then all of a sudden people started wanting to be able to access the computers, the office computers from home. And we started to introduce tablets and phones and stuff like that. So we got a bit clever. Then we had third-party suppliers connecting into our corporate networks, and we were doing electronic ordering and so on all over the internet. And this is when we had dial-up before, but this is when we started using the internet. Cloud. That got exciting. Somebody else's computer. So you started worrying about that, and our attack surface had suddenly grown. So, look, yeah, obligatory hacker in a hoodie. And now where are we? I mean, it's just ludicrous. You've got everything everywhere, nothing connected, everything interconnected, social media, digitization, wearables, smart wristwatches and stuff like that. So everything's got fantastic, and it's all got really brilliant, and we've done this so much in 30 years that not really in security, I would argue that nothing has changed. And why do I say that? Well, go to a tech conference like InfoSec or DTX or whatever, the business conferences, not like this, where we've got proper security people doing proper hacking stuff. And you will hear the same. The reason for this speech is I went to a conference and sat there, listened to the opening keynote, and it was like, I heard this 20 years ago. And it was all the same old stuff. Get the CISO on the board. Have a security, should be a business enabler, protect the data, all this stuff. When you could read it all. We take your security seriously. Oh yeah, we do. If only it wasn't for the... How many times we hear that? If only it wasn't for the users. Oh. And then this year's buzzword, I mean, we've gone through blockchain and whatever, but now, of course, it's AI. So where's it going wrong? Well, these are the things you hear all the time. Security is saying no. Security's just IT. We're failing to do the obvious stuff. Too much technology. Wrong technology. No tech vendors here, so I can slag them off a bit more. And really, when it comes down to it, we're still human. We're still talking about putting firewalls in, strong defences. So we build our, first line of defence. Oh, that got breached. Put another line of defence in. Oh, that got breached. Put a bigger one in. Where's your perimeter in a cloud environment? So let's get back to the basics. This still holds true. CIA, confidentiality, availability, and integrity. It still holds true because it still matters, because we're still looking after information. Too much emphasis is placed on confidentiality, in my opinion. Not enough on integrity and availability. Some talks earlier on ransomware. Ransomware often hits availability. It doesn't affect the confidentiality. Your data's still there. Nobody else can access it. You can't access it, though. And integrity of data is very rarely talked about. But it's one of those things that comes up. I'm a data protection consultant. We talk about in GDPR terms. One of the requirements in there is to make sure that the information a company holds about you is accurate and is up to date. We don't talk about it often enough. We talk about encrypting stuff, and we talk about locking things down. We also forget about legacy technology. There's an awful lot of stuff out there that is very, very old, still in use. Windows NT4 servers, COBOL programming, this kind of stuff. It's still running our critical national infrastructure. And people forget about printers, print servers. I was in Atos back in a while ago, many years ago. We got hacked. We got virus infection or virus infestation. Where was it? It was on a print server that was running Windows XP with no service packs or anything like that on it. It's just too easy if you've got sort of old stuff that isn't patched in there. Another little issue, flat networks. It's very, very easy to put flat networks where everyone's got access to everything. If you get a breach, something gets infected, that just goes everywhere. So why aren't these segmented? Because it's hard, because it's difficult, because it's painful. Users. Yes, we have got a problem with users. We've got a problem with users because they move around the company. So we had a case, a client I was working with not very long ago, where one employee had been in that company for 13 years. They'd worked in most of the jobs. So they'd been in all these different departments. So as they'd been in all these different departments, they still had access to all these different departments. Guess which account was the one that got hacked? And when it comes down to it, we're all cavemen in an IT world. I think if you took someone, took them out of a cave, put a suit on them, put them in the high street, they'd still look like a person. We haven't actually evolved as fast as this technology. Sorry, there are some brilliant minds in this building, but there's an awful lot of people there who are still struggling with the basics. So we get told, have passwords. Make them memorable, don't write them down. About 8 characters, that'll do. Must contain 3 of the 4 clever characters, and we've got to change it every 30 days. So this month's password, of course, is June 2024. This guidance was changed at least 3 years ago. I mean, this is published guidance from NCSC, was changed 3 years ago to make it, long, three long words, 3 memorable words, don't change it, all that kind of stuff. But we haven't moved on. We haven't changed the guidance we're telling people. You go into a corporate environment, they're still putting this training rubbish out. Because we all love security awareness training, don't we? And we see all this stuff once a year. I'm looking to see who spotted it. Oh, come on, it's afternoon, it's late. I know you've had to work hard today. Oh, sorry. I've got that one now, Sam. Yeah. Thank you. Okay. Security awareness training, the way it's done typically is once a year, tick a box. It's crap. Nobody listens to any of it. Come on, we can do better. We really can do better. Now, Bill Gates said this in relation to getting stuff done, in that a lazy person will always find an easy way to do difficult things. From a security perspective, people are human. They will find a workaround. I'm sure we've all seen these sorts of images. A gate in a field with no fence, and, why bother having a barrier if you can drive around it? Humans. I read Sarah Armstrong Smith's book, which I picked up at B-Sides in Lancs, by the way. Another B-Side, very good. And she introduces Tony Sales. She does an interview with him. And he talks about humans are driven by two things, fundamentally. Fear and love. So you can attack people by going for these raw emotions. We're emotional people. Emotional creatures. We go for these emotions. So you're told that a purchase has been made on your credit card, and you go, has it really? Click the link. Or, I send you an email and tell you I love you. You go, oh, that's nice. Can you send me some money for a plane flight? We're going for the emotions, aren't we? It's too easy to hack humans. Get a free offer, tickets to something that you really, really want to go to, especially B-Sides. Not the Olympics, you don't want to. So we go back to training. So how do we tell people not to do it? We say to them, and obviously Holly's speech first thing this morning was brilliant, because it was just like, let me straight into this. Humans will click on anything, or certain types of humans. We tell people to look for these things. People who write these emails are marketeers. They are very, very smart people. They write in the way that people write adverts. They will encourage you to do something, and it's not just the threats of, do it now because you're going to, you've been attacked. So people will push the button. They will click the link because they are told to by the marketing. Now, it's not their fault. They are human. Okay, technology. So we've got too much technology, and technology causes problems. So let's just throw more technology at it. Yeah, that's going to work, isn't it? There are no silver bullets. I know there are no werewolves either, but there are no silver bullets. And there are two significant problems that I've come across with technology. There's more than that, but these are the significant ones. Firstly, technology salespeople. They will sell you what they've got on the shelf. Now, I've been there. I've worked in the organisations that do this kind of stuff, and they do. And they were like, I've got one of these, and I need to sell it, so I will flog it to you. The other half of the equation is the people buying the technology. So the techies in the IT department or the security department will go, oh, sweeties, more blue lights. So, again, this is human nature. The salespeople want to sell stuff, and they will. The techie people like new tech. I should have had a photo of your chai. This is the buzzword. You're going to get hit with the buzzword all the time. I went to DTX. Every other speech was by our AI system. How the heck are you going to cope with all that technology when you keep buying more and more of it? You're lucky to have an IT department that's capable of running Windows, let alone, 13 different security vendors worth of 31 different security systems. My view on this is have one decent security system that you can exploit to the hilt, because you can train people in it, you can run it, and if it does 80% of what you need, you're far better off than having 8 or 10 different vendors' equipment that only do 10% of what you do, but you don't know what's going on. And don't talk about single pane of glass, because that's just one single pane in the arse. So how do we do better? Firstly, let's have a look at a data breach. Very little of it is actually electronic. Very little of it is actually hacking. Most of it is human error. And that's not bad human error, that's just people doing daft things because they're people and they're busy. So more technology is not going to solve the problem. If 62% of the problem is people. Security departments have to stop saying no. Yeah, it's an old one, we know it. Thank you to Dan Card for his tweet the other day. We can do better. We can say yes. Instead of no, maybe it's no but, or maybe even better, moving on. Yes, but I want to do this. Instead of security saying you can't do that because it breaks policy, it's like, okay, that's very interesting. How can we make that happen? Decent processes will help you. So having processes that actually work for your business and are not just off the shelf and were last updated 5 years ago. I will encourage you to automate as much as you possibly can, providing the automation actually provides benefit to you and not just crap in, crap out. And we need technology that helps us rather than gets in the way. I'll come through an example of that. A phishing attack. It's the simplest, most obvious and most straightforward way of getting it into an organisation. So, the email shouldn't get through in the first place. Alright? So the email does get through, but the URL embedded within the email should be blocked. So, if the link works on that email, then it shouldn't download, because we should have something blocking it. If it does download, it shouldn't execute. Okay? Well, if it does execute, it shouldn't then connect to the command and control server that it's trying to connect to. So all of these bits, this is just layered stuff, this is Swiss cheese stuff. It definitely, we get to the next point, if it does execute, does connect, we shouldn't be uploading data, or we should be identifying that we've uploaded data. And finally, users shouldn't have access to everything. So if I open the email and I click the link, the only thing that should be affected is what I can access, which means if I work in finance, yes, finance might be screwed, but the HR system's still okay. Worked many, many years ago with RS Components. They had their IT systems locked down so tightly that when a team in Italy, 13 people in Italy, when one of them hadn't patched his systems, hadn't done this, did get hit with a piece of malware, and it was an encrypting, we would call it ransomware now, but at the time it was just sort of encrypting malware. The 13 of them all got affected, and their server got affected, but the rest of the organisation was fine. And that was just because RS Components had an approach of really, really lock it down. I have never seen it like that anywhere else. That was brilliant. That saved them. And lastly, stop blaming people for being human. We're human, we make mistakes. We get it right, we get it wrong. We do stupid things. We're busy, we're stressed. And after all, we're all just cavemen with fancy IT. Thank you. I am open to questions. I can ask anything. When you get an answer or not.
So I totally agree with that, and I see before the idea of PC. I don't think we write code any different.
Bigger now, isn't it?
Yeah. So there's still legacy code out there from 40 years ago.
I had to write on 6502 assembler at one point. That's my coding days. And tiny. Now it's bloatware, isn't it? Sorry, Cameron.
So, yeah, and I totally, you have, when I used to write software, every byte and every bit, now you've got hundreds of things, so people really efficient just get stuff. You look at OWASP and we give the top 10 coding errors. The things we did in 2003 are still being done today. Legacy software is there because we don't like new software, because people can't afford to buy new software, just evolve software. So how do we correct that to educate the next generation, because our generation's gone? How do we educate the next generation?
Nearly gone.
All we do is suffer.
Yeah.
How do we educate the next generation in our schools and universities to write high quality secure software from day one rather than learn by mistakes?
I think that's a brilliant, brilliant question. There you go. Your consultant answered that one, didn't he? Oh, yeah, the consultant answer that was. What a brilliant question. Shit, what do I say now? Security from day one. Again, we talk about it from, security built in, security, from the ground up, and so on. One of the best ways is to make sure the security team get involved with the devs. I used to work with a team of devs. I was a data protection officer and head of security, which is a conflict of interest. It was an interesting one, and people come to me and say, can you sign that off? No. You should have spoken to me 8 weeks ago when we could look at what we were doing. So get it in early. How do we get the kids involved? Show them this, show them the damage, show them the sort of stuff that can happen. Get them into a B-sides. Can we, as security professionals, get out to schools?
I try to teach them. I think schools teach curriculum, don't teach principles.
Yeah.
And I think that's the principles of schools. People get it when I teach code. I get them to validate their age.
Yes.
And it's really interesting. People never think, the age has got 3 positive numbers.
Yeah, and not dollar dot minus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get it in 5 minutes then.
Yes. It's incredible that, yes, I don't know, we can't change the curriculum. We're not going to, make changes.
Maybe we need to have research children.
What a great idea.
Research teachers.
Yeah.
To actually do that, to actually show them what the conflict is.
You have a plan set up now. So.
Well, I just want to add something. Israel, they start teaching in the primary school cybersecurity and AI. In China, they started from age of 5. So if we are behind, that's the first story.
Yeah,
Go to Estonia.
And we used to, there was the Raspberry Pis came out and things like that. People were doing all this clever stuff. One of the other tricky things, I think, is you've got all this bloated code, and it's too easy to go to a repository and pull code in and say, I'll have that and that and that and that, and all these subroutines get pulled in. Where have they come from? Who's validating them, and where are they tested? And we end up with bloatware.
You get bloatware, you get 20 lines a year, you get 200,000 lines of taxes.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was just going to say, it's sort of propensity now for releasing sort of agile delivery and first market, so it means that people will rush along. I'm guessing back in the day, was that still the case?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I worked at 3Com Sonics, and we'd given ourselves a deadline to get version 6 of the ISDN router code. Now, ISDN, for those who may not know, this is a digital dial-up thing. It doesn't exist anymore. We'd committed to getting the code out on this day, and we were testing it, it kept failing. This just is a pile of poo. We can't do it. We'd committed to get it out on the day. We got it out on the day. We pulled it the following day. So, yeah, we did used to do things. And that's chief exec is saying, got to get it released. So we got it released, and, yeah, we did bad stuff. Elsa.
So, Tim, the way you said, so technically the history repeats itself, and it seems that we don't learn from our lessons. Knowing that the nature of the human, we are good at fixing problems, but we are not good at being proactive. Are you trying to say that partially we should accept it?
I think we have to accept it.
Because it seems that we are still ones who say, no, we are going to fix everything with all of this technology. It seems that are you telling going
The
to
technology
be
people will say we will.
partially.
Yeah. I think the technology people will tell us that the technology will fix everything. AI will replace us all. So there'll be a robot up here doing the speech next year. Great. I think we're still humans. We're still going to be making mistakes. We're still going to be. We still have our weaknesses. I think the important thing there is to understand that we've got weaknesses and know that these exist. Holly's speech this morning was, absolutely brilliant because it sort of brought home the fact that we're all different and yet we're all the same and we're all messing up. So I think we have to accept that we are still going to keep screwing up. And people, the other thing I think I failed to mention, there are bad guys. Human nature means there are bad guys. The first caveman who made a new club, next guy grabbed it off him, hit him over the head with it and stole it. We've always had thieves, we've always had fraud, we've always had bad stuff. We're not going to change that. We're not going to suddenly become a beautiful nirvana. We have to live with it. But we have to understand it.
I was just going to touch on the Japanese about education. So it's not just kind of bottom up as well, top down. So actually, a lot of the time in discussion before that, it's business based, it's money, it's time.
Yeah.
And so it's get it.
Ring doorbell.
Yeah.
Classic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's usually from the top down.
Mm-hmm.
So the CEO, CTO, whatever it may be, time, get it out. So actually that education is top.
Yeah. But the first to market will be the market leader. So I said ring doorbell. There must be a dozen video doorbells out there, but never heard of any of the others. So the first to market wins it, even if the product's absolutely a pile of nonsense. Security. Right, I've got 2 minutes looking at that clock.
I was just going to say a quick comment on that is, if you look at dash cams as a really good example, first out to market. If you look at pretty much every dash cam across that's currently available, they're all like 2 or 3 designs that are just replicated, and they all use the same sensors. They all use it's what manufacturers are doing, rather than updating the hardware, they're just increasing the amount of features, but not actually improving the thing they should do, which is the product itself in the first place.
Yeah.
So they'll just build features and features and features because that's what people want.
No, that's what you've been told you want. So marketeers will say, well, how can I make my product different to product A?
Yeah.
And if I had a blue light on the back, you'll buy it. So, yeah. Brilliant.
So regulation, do you think we've had things like recently about insecurity and things like that?
Yeah.
Is that going to work?
No.
No, I don't think it's
No. Regulation will always be about 3 years behind the technology, and the technology will always be adopted and abused by the criminals before it's mainstream. And we have to do better. And I think that's where the security community does really well at getting together at events like this and having a chat and going, well, that's a pile of poo. What can we do about it? And we'll do it. I think that's my time. Thank you very much indeed for listening.